I don't care who you are, you're going to lose. Conor McGregor already did recently barely avenge the defeat. And if you saw Nurmagomedov on the undercard, I don't know that Conor McGregor beats Nurmagomedov. I might make Nurmagomedov the favorite. That dude is dominant. The interesting thing about that fight, by the way, is that Nurmagomedov was hurt by a strike early in the fight. And what Conor McGregor can do, he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist who can strike with his hands. But I wonder who would be the favorite in that fight.
Let me say this to you.
And they're in the same division.
Let me say this to you. I'm sitting ringside. And I saw Conor McGregor connect on 3 punches in the first round. All 3 punches dropped Alvarez.
Yep, he can punch.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Alvarez...
And he couldn't take him down. If he took him down, it could have been a little dangerous.
That's right, but he couldn't. But here's the thing, the thing that I found so interesting. Eddie Alvarez walked into the ring, shorter, yes, but looking bigger. By the time the second round arrived, he looked smaller.
Yep.
I mean, he looked bigger before the fight started, and then looked smaller once he got hit.
And
it's like his body shrunk for crying out.
The same thing could happen to Nurmagomedov. Conor McGregor is a really talented guy. I'm just saying, I suspect that Nurmagomedov is the favorite in that fight.
Fine.
They're in the same division,
and
that's a fight that's got to happen before too long.
Let me say
about Nurmagomedov that people have to understand is I have a lot of respect for Conor because I've seen how he fights anyone, jumps weight class, whatever it is, go in an immediate rematch, whatever it is, he wants to make the big event. I did not think he would fight Nurmagomedov. That's how dangerous Nurmagomedov is. That's how bad his style appears to be for Conor. That's the guy who I thought Conor was ignoring in the build-up to the Mayweather fight. And the fact that he comes and Dana, the style is dangerous for McGregor.
Exactly.
There are exceptions. You came up with a couple of good ones. One, you don't always get knocked out sooner. Sometimes you put up a better effort. Mosley and Vernon Forrest, whatever. There are examples of that. Even sometimes a fighter can win an immediate rematch. For example, Lennox Lewis and Rahman. Rahman was not the better fighter than Lennox Lewis.
That's not the point.
Lennox Lewis.
What was your point?
But, however, there is nuance to it. Lennox Lewis was an Olympic gold medalist, the dominant heavyweight champion. Rahman was a nice contender. The point is, Nurmagomedov is the undefeated, invincible, blue chip, best pound-for-pound fighter in the game guy, best ground-and-pound guy I've ever seen.
Who came into the fight with people believing he had a questionable jaw.
Yeah, however.
That's what they were saying.
Why? Because Michael Johnson hit him with
I had never seen him. I had never seen him other than on video with highlights. I had never seen him before Saturday night. But they were saying, I'm talking about UFC pros.
He fought a southpaw who hit him with a left hand, and they said he was shook. He was not shook by it.
They were saying he had a questionable jaw.
They were wrong. But the point is that if you want to give Conor an actual chance to win, was he inactive? Did that make him a lesser fighter? Yes, he'd be better if he was active. You got to get him reps against a guy who looks like Nurmagomedov with his wrestling or grappling even. It can even be Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Has to be someone who's going to take him down, try to ground and pound. He's and a lesser light than Nurmagomedov.
I don't want to hear that from you.
If someone asks me, John, I'll straight up, who's the best pound-for-pound mixed martial artist you ever seen at this moment, and I know it's still early, I'd say Nurmagomedov, based on what I've seen so far. I think he's on a short list with you and Anderson Silva. You, Anderson Silva, Nurmagomedov. Molly will bring up GSP. I think eventually he got to that level, although the Matt Hughes fight early was a little... But what do you think of Khabib right now?
You know, I think Khabib's an amazing fighter. I think he's done a great job representing the UFC. He's a great ambassador for our sport. But if you were to, ask, some MMA experts about myself and Khabib, I think most people would be able to tell, just our resumes are completely different.
Yours is much deeper. Yeah.
I've fought so many world champions under my belt that I've defeated. Khabib, a lot of his victories are against a lot of people that are relatively unknown, and where I've been fighting legends since I was a young man.
There's no question. There's
So,
no question that your resume is deeper. I don't mean who's accomplished more. I'm talking about just the eyeball test.
The eyeball. What do you mean by that eyeball test?
Nurmagomedov, in a sport where it seemed early on that the one whose base is the ground game usually has an advantage versus the guy who's best known for striking, is the best example I can think of the guy whose ground game is ridiculous and then can also stand up.
Right. Yeah. His stand-up game is really not much to write home about. You know, I really don't want to insult my fellow martial artists. I don't want to insult these guys. You know, I'm happy for everyone. Like I said, some guys are more popular. Some guys make more money. It's always going to be kind of an opinion thing. But by the time I leave the sport, you know, I don't think there's going to be much of an argument.
Assuming, John, you live up. Assuming, John.
Conor got in there with Nurmagomedov. I thought that, I mean, yeah, I guess you have to at a certain point, but not a great idea styles-wise and where they were in their careers, and maybe not even on their best day, right? I like Nurmagomedov in that fight. Conor fights Diaz twice. Conor fight, like, even the Floyd Mayweather fight, which is for big money and everything, that takes guts to go into an event that big when you're that far out of your depth and put on as good a show as he did. And even coming back against now a guy like Poirier this is why he connects with fans, really, because he's a real no, I understand. He's a real fighter, and that's who he is, and also who he is a showman. He couldn't shut up if he tried.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Khabib's kind of aura of invincibility. 28 now, 18 inside the distance, best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. How do you overcome that psychologically, going in there? You said you're not scared of a little dream if you get choked out. But how do you overcome that kind of aura he has in your own mind as you prepare for the fight?
No, nobody is unbeatable. Nobody is infallible. I was 18-0, and I was undefeated at one time as well. I had 18 fights. That's not a small amount of fights to go undefeated in this sport. I had 7 amateur fights. I was 25-0 my first 25 fights. So, he would be a fool to think he's infallible. He knows he's not. He knows he can be beaten. That's why everybody's so nervous. This sport is unique. This sport is not like football, not like basketball, not like golf. There's so much on the line. You represent your family, and when someone loses, your family feels it. It's there's repercussions to losing. Not only financially, but as far as your health. Football is so dangerous, but there is a team out there to support you. Once you step in the octagon, it's you and you alone. And he will understand that I know he's human, and he will understand that he's human as soon as that fight starts.
You mentioned earlier you need a few more fights for your legacy. And I mentioned when John Jones was on this show that you might be the best I've seen in MMA. And a lot of MMA people are like, come on, he hasn't fought enough guys yet and all this. And, you're talking about Anderson Silva and John Jones are more proven. Who are the fights that you think you need? If it's not the winner of McGregor-Poirier, if that fight comes off, you say you need more to cement your legacy. Who does motivate you? Who do you want to fight next, presuming you win?
I really become exciting when I think about George St. Pierre, and I don't know if he want to fight with me or not. Can he make weight 155 or not? But this fight make me exciting, honestly. And I think me versus Jones is gonna be very, very big fight. Very big fight, like big fight for fans, big fight for pay-per-view, big fight for analytics, like for everybody, for fighters. This is only fight in UFC what makes me, after Gaethje, what makes me very exciting.